Hey nail babes, it's your girl Taylor and I'm back again with another nail video. If you want to see how I did this look, just keep on watching.
Like Gucci, Gucci, Louis, Louis, Fendi, Fendi, Prada. Them basic bitches wear that shit so I don't even bother. Gucci, Gucci, Louis, Louis, Fendi, Fendi.
Today, I'm just going to be getting straight into the nails. So if you're new here, thank you for tuning in. And if you're a OG nail friend, then it's nice to see you again. This was my first time trying this shape of duck nails, and don't worry, I am going to add in a little, show you the little part before I put acrylic on these nails so you can kind of see what I did to put these tips on. But because this was my first time trying this, like doing duck nails this way, I just made sure I took my time on the first couple nails. So this is going to be another long video, but it's not quite as long as the last one. But I did want to leave this part kind of in normal speed so you can kind of see how the application portion went, and then I'm going to speed it up a little bit later. But so right now I'm using this, it's kind of like a jelly type of yellow color. It's kind of transparent, but it's not completely transparent. And I made it myself, so yeah, I just took some yellow pigment powder and added some clear to it, so that's why it's giving that little translucent-ish type of look. So because it wasn't very opaque at the tip, I just made sure to go ahead and add a little bit more to the bottom, and already you can kind of see that the nail is coming together. So next I'm going in for my ombre bead. So I just took like kind of a small medium size bead and placed it where the tip meet the natural nail. And I patted it in place. Don't forget to pat in place. You don't want to just throw it on there and swipe it all down because you're going to ruin your ombre, girl. So I just pat it in place and then swipe the bottom down with my brush. I don't really pay too much attention to the top part of the bead. I just want to make sure that the bead fits sidewall to sidewall before bringing down the bottom. Hopefully that was easy to understand. Now I'm going in for my last bead. This is going to be my cuticle bead. And zoom in if you need to. But you see how easy that was? And that's because I showed y'all how I placed my bead in the last video. I placed my cuticle bead on sideways so that it kind of already fits the shape of my nail bed. Because I work with a flat brush and not a pointed brush, if I were to place my bead on the regular way, it would cause my bead to be really elongated and going outside of the sidewalls of my nail. And this is where I'm showing you what the tips look like. So basically, I just put on my standard 3XL no C-curve nail tips that you can find in my Amazon storefront. And I just applied a duck nail tip to the end of these nails and I cut them down for length. Here I am showing you the standard application for the nude color. So this nail is only going to be nude. I decided to start working more towards the bottom of this nail instead of where the natural nail meets the nail tip, because this nail is not going to be an ombre. I'm just going to kind of just work on the more, like in the medium, like a more dry side. I'm not using really wet beads because I don't want this acrylic to run and spill all over the place. I just kind of want it to stay where I place it. So I'm going to use the brush and also my fingers sometimes to kind of pinch the tips of these nails because I don't want to have too much shaping to do. So this second bead that I'm going for is going to kind of be like my my apex bead and my cuticle bead at once, because I just kind of want to check the nail first and then go back in if I need to make my apex larger. And again, I have never done this type of nail shape. I've used the standard duck nail tips before, and they kind of already have an apex to them, and these do not. So I didn't want to go all in at once and then have to go back in and fix it or have too much filing to do at the end. So as you can see, I've brought my second bead all the way down the nail And now I'll only have to fill in any gaps that I see in my nails. Here I am checking the nail at different angles. Now, as you can see, I have a slight indentation in this nail on the side. So I'm going to go in with a smaller bead and fill that in. When I'm filling a gap, I just place a large enough bead where the indentation is, and then I'm going to use the tip of my brush to swipe the top of the bead upward and then the bottom of the bead downward. I'm not going to be using my brush to touch the center of the bead unless I'm blending it. If you go right in and swipe at the middle of your bead, you're not going to fill in the gap. You're just going to be removing your product. Now that I have my first gap filled, I'm going to check the nail again and start to build my apex. So I'm going to place my bead right where I want my apex to be. I'm going to pat my bead in place and blend it into the cuticle area. Then I'm going to use the bottom of my brush, well, the tip of my brush, to blend the bottom of the bead downwards without removing too much product from the center. So kind of like fill in the gap. Now that I have the top of my apex formed, I'm just going to fill in any remaining gaps. So as you can see here, the gap is now in the middle of the nail. So that's what I'm going to fill, and then I'll be finished. Now, as you can see, the nail is complete and it's looking super, super sexy. This is the shape that I was going for. So I don't know why I like to play with my nails so much at the end, but it's finished and this is what it looks like from the side. Oh, girl. So now I'm going to speed up the video, I think, just a little bit more. And you can go ahead and watch the application portion, and I'll be back when it's time for shaping. I just wanted to pop in really quick and show you here is how I'm pinching the tips because I want to keep my duck shape. I'm back again. So right now I'm just doing the capping, and I just wanted to kind of explain how I cap my nails. When I'm capping my nails, I'm just working on the wetter side. So I'm just gonna take like a medium-sized bead of the clear acrylic, and I'm only placing the bead in the center of the nail because I didn't build an apex for this nail. I only used the color. So I'm starting at the middle and then just filling the gap in with the clear acrylic, and that's pretty much it. If I see any more gaps, I will fill it, but if not, then I'll just move on. My pinky nail is going to be exactly the same as my middle finger, so I'm just going to repeat the same process. And here I am showing you how the nails are looking so far. For my thumb is going to be another solid finger. Now that my thumb is complete, I'm of course gonna go back in, fill in any gaps, and make sure that my apex is nice and strong. I never forget this step. I always make sure to check every single one of my nails to make sure that the structure is good. If not, you can cause your nails to break. These nails are real long and you don't want any accidents. Okay, real quick, do you see the difference that makes? You see how much more sturdy my nail looks now compared to what it looked like before I fill in any gaps? That's why you want to do this. It looks like a nail that ain't going nowhere. This is what my nails are looking like as soon as the application is finished. And don't worry, I see that little in that yellow. I told you this yellow is real just transparent. So it's okay because those nails are going to be that middle finger is going to be Frenchy. So it's okay. It's getting covered up. But I did want to show you how I shape these nails. So basically, I'm just taking a 60/60 grit hand file. This is one that I've used for at least 2 of my own sets. I don't use the file that I use on myself. You know, everybody gets a different file. So I'm taking this file and just basically smoothing out the entire surface of the nail first. So you'll just see me dragging my file diagonally all the way across the nail until the nail is completely covered. And you'll know the nail is covered when it's completely white. For this step, you're not focusing on the cuticle area at all. You're only filing the body of the nail. Next, I'm going to go in with just my traditional standing band. I'm not using my 5-in-1 bit for this set just yet. I'm not sure if I actually used the 5-in-1 bit. I might have, just to blend it out all at the end. But for this set, the cuticle area was pretty much smooth, so I didn't really need to use a metal tool. I'm just going to be using the sanding band to recorrect the duck nail shape. Since duck nails aren't straight, I'm not going to be using my hand file for the sides of my nail because I don't want to take away the flared duck tip. I'm just going to be using my sanding band to go underneath the nail and, you know, kind of around the sides. I did want to show you one more time, so I'm going to show you with my index finger exactly what I'm using the sanding band for. So it's basically to get any excess acrylic from underneath the nail, just to maintain my duck nail shape. Okay, so I actually did end up using my 5-in-1 bit. So I used my 5-in-1 bit to seal around some of the cuticles. So for instance, my pinky nail, because the bit is a bit smaller, it's a bit more narrow. So it helps me to get into those little fine spaces. And I also use this bit to go up underneath the back of the nail, since this is 2 tips glued on top of each other, and I didn't really want that separation to show. The next thing that I'm going to be using this bit for is to redefine my C curve or my moon shape. So I like my nails to kind of have a little dip in the tip of them. So that's what I like to use this bit for the most part. I don't really like my nails to be straight across. So that's just a personal preference. Now I'm going in with some cuticle oil, because y'all know I showed y'all in one of my last videos that I found this hack on Instagram, and girl, this has been a game changer. So you put the cuticle oil on first, and then you use your buffer to buff the nails smooth, and it comes out way smoother than if you were to just go in with a dry buffer. So girl, nail hack, get on it. If you're not doing it, do it, girl. It's smooth. Like, it look like your nails already been top coated. Don't worry about the oil still being on your nails after this step, because you're still gonna, like, you know, wash your hands like you normally would. But if you don't want to do that, if you're only doing your own nails, you can of course just use some alcohol and wipe the surface smooth, so that when you put your top coat on, you don't get any separation. Just take a look at how smooth these nails are. Like, what? So this is what the nails look like right after top coating them, and I'm gonna go ahead and top coat the thumb, and then I'm gonna move right on in for some designs. In the meantime, in between time, you know I gotta go ahead right on over to Reddit, because I gotta see what they doing over there. Okay, so just give me a second. I'm gonna come back with a story. Okay guys, I found a story. So this is a thread called "What is the scariest story you know?" that is 100% true. So this story is being told by Acrylic, and this was posted 4 years ago. Acrylic says, "I wouldn't call this a scary story, more like a creepy story. But my mom's friend had a small house and lived alone. She noticed weird things. A batch of soup depleting faster than usual, missing eggs, damp towels in the hamper when she hadn't used any, extra dishes in the dishwasher, etc. This went on for months. She thought she was just being forgetful. One day, she heard some thumping around in her attic and went to investigate. She found some makeshift living quarters. Small radio, hot plate, sleeping bag, pillow, food wrappers, etc. She called the cops, who came in to keep an eye on the place. They ended up catching a homeless man climbing in a tree, trying to sneak into her attic window. He had been doing this almost daily. He would wait for her to go to work, then go downstairs and help himself to food and amenities. The funny part about this story is they got to know each other throughout this whole ordeal. And the guy was actually very respectful, just down on his luck. She didn't press charges. Instead, she let him move in, helped him get a job, and he lived in the attic until he got back on his feet. Creepy shit with a happy ending." Oh my gosh, that is a wild story. That reminds me of my story. Anybody who's watched my channel before, you probably already seen my story of Mr. Creepy Shadow Man. So this person's experience is very similar to my own. So if you haven't seen that story, make sure you check it out. It's on my page. You will not miss it, because the cover photo, you'll see it. The cover photo is very catchy. And I'll also link the story in the description box below for those who want to check it out. I'm just really happy that they were able to get to the bottom of it, and sooner rather than later, because she actually gave this guy a place to stay, and I think that was so nice of her. So kudos to you. This story that I just found is by Big Bad AI or Big Bad Owl. I can't really tell. But this story sounds a bit more tragic than it does scary. Anyways, let's get into it. My friend's boss bought an Audi A4 convertible back when they were new and interesting. One of the talking points was the pop-up roll hoops that were hidden unless you rolled it. A few months after buying it, he got to test those roll hoops out as he lost control and skidded down a steep bank about 10 meters or 35 feet deep. The roll hoops did their job, and he survived with just cuts and scratches from the bushes he plowed through. The car ended up the right way up, and he got out, walked back up the bank to the side of the road, then got on the phone to the police to report the accident. While he was standing there, a driver from the car that had seen the accident came over to speak to him. Approaching from behind, the other driver asked if he was okay. My friend's boss turned around to reply and dropped dead. His neck had been fractured, but was in one piece right up until he turned his head when it severed his spinal cord. I don't know too much about cars, but this story was like crazy to me. I don't know what I would have done being that person that approached the car and like actually saw this person lose his life. I know that they tried to do their best by creating a car that would kind of bounce up if the car was to flip or turn or get into any bad crashes or accidents. But he was already broken. Like the springs didn't really do its job. Like, I don't think that was a safe feature at all. Like, maybe if the car had just kind of did a normal roll, maybe it would have actually worked out. See, I don't know. Do you guys think that this guy's accidental... Do you guys think that this guy's tragic accident had anything to do with the springs in the car? Or do you think that this would have happened either way? I just don't think that was a safety feature. By that I mean, like, maybe the bouncing motion could have actually snapped his neck before the car even stopped moving, you know? Our last and final story is by Katie 7 Even. Before my dad died, he once told me a story from when he was in Vietnam in the 1960s. He told me about a mission where he and one other American with 5 CIDG strikers, South Vietnamese villagers turned fighters, were asked to emplace seismic ground sensors along a trail network deep in the jungle. He said they were about 2 days into the mission when he and 2 of the strikers split off from the main group to go watch a nearby trail intersection. He said the jungle was quite quiet that day. Just the sounds of birds and bugs and occasional monkey. He said that they had been watching the trail intersection for about 3 or 4 hours and were deciding on whether to move further down the trail or to turn back and link up with the rest of the patrol. Before leaving the cover of the brush, my dad said he checked the trail ahead of them one last time and prepared his men to move. Now here's where the story gets interesting, and he told this part with absolute dead seriousness. He said just as he started to step out into the trail, he sees a light-skinned black Union cavalry soldier in full battle gear laying alongside the trail just shy of the intersection. My dad said the Union soldier had 2 pistols, a Spencer rifle, and a short curved club at his hip. As my dad was trying to process what he was seeing, the soldier looked directly at him and smiled. Then the soldier slowly placed a finger up to his lips as if to tell him to be silent, and then motioned my dad back off the trail. My dad said he signaled for his men to remain hidden, and he recalled that as he slipped back into the jungle on one side of the trail. The Union soldier did the same on his side of the trail. Less than 10 seconds later, he said the lead element of the group of NVA, North Vietnamese Army soldiers, walked right through the trail intersection some 30 feet away. My dad estimated that the group was comprised of some 70 to 80 soldiers equipped with automatic rifles, light machine guns, and rocket-propelled grenade launchers. He has no doubt that his entire team would have been wiped out on the spot. He said as soon as the enemy soldiers had passed, he and his team beat feet out of there as fast and as quietly as they could and rejoined with the rest of the patrol. He reported the enemy soldiers his team had encountered, but decided not to say anything about the soldier he had seen. My dad kept this a secret for many, many years, only telling me just before he passed, and earlier only telling his grandmother on her deathbed in the 1970s. He said when he told his grandmother, she smiled and without opening her eyes told him, "You saw old Red Tom." Red Tom was my great-great-grandfather. He was a half-black, half-Creek free man who was a scout for the Union Army during the Civil War and later served with the U.S. Cavalry in the American West. He was known for carrying 2 pistols, a Spencer rifle, and a Creek war club into battle. That story was so freaking cool. Like, isn't that crazy? Like, how crazy is that the dad and his great-grandfather, the person's great-grandfather, were both in the military and both served, and also, like, do you guys believe this story? Like that well, I'm pretty sure like this person doesn't have any reason to lie. You know, I believe in like the supernatural and creepy little stuff like that. That's why I'm always scared of everything. But I think this story was just so cool. And then the fact that the grandmother confirmed what he saw, that's just amazing. Like, he really saved his great-great-grandson's life. He really saved his family, because the person telling the story wouldn't even exist if his father didn't make it. You get what I'm saying? I think it's just so cool. I think it was a blessing. I think it was a gift sent from above. Period. Thank you for sharing your story. That was lit. We've come to the end of our video, or pretty close to it. There's only about maybe like a couple more minutes left. So right now I'm just doing like a couple more designs and finishing touches. And on my ring finger, I'm going to be doing like a bling bling nail, but it's going to be more like an outline bling bling Frenchie. So that's pretty cool. On this pinky, I decided to go ahead and add a little nail piercing in there, so you'll be able to see me do that. But for the most part, these nails are just about finished. If you've made it to the end of this video and you're still rocking with me, I want you guys to drop a, let me think. Drop me a soldier. Yep, that's fitting. Here's where I decided to change the word on my pinky finger. So I decided to do WHAT for what? Like, just what? The reason I decided to go with what is because somebody made a nasty little comment on my Instagram. So, and she made a Ice Spice reference saying that her music was trash and I shouldn't use her music for my shorts because it's not soothing to listen to with a nail video. and said like what. So and also she said that our designs are mid, and we all know that that's not true over here. So like what? Keep it a buck. As a nail girly, you know we tend to face the most amount of criticism online when it comes to our work. And not just our work, but just our creativity in general. And just because something is not your style, you know, we don't have to comment certain things just because you don't like it. You can always keep scrolling. So I just want you to just kind of take something from me if you don't take anything else, and that's if you get negativity on your page, just respond in art. Like, you don't even really have to address the person, because 9 times out of 10 they're gonna realize that they're being ridiculous anyways, and if they don't realize it, then someone's gonna check them for you. So you can just respond in art, and if the shoe fits, they'll wear it, period. Now I'm going in and doing my bling bling Frenchie, and I wanted this rhinestone Frenchie to be like extra craziness going on. So I just went in and stuck like a bunch of random flowers, little charms, and rhinestones all over this nail, everywhere that I put the silver gel polish. So that's how I'm gonna create my Frenchie, just by using that as an outline to put on my charms. This video did end up cutting short on me. I don't know if my camera died or it just didn't feel like recording anymore. I don't remember. I recorded this video quite a minute ago, maybe like a week ago. But I do know that it wasn't able to finish the rest, so I'm going to go ahead and show you some pictures. Yeah. And a little video so you can get the full effect. And if you enjoy watching this video, make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe, or share this video to anybody who might be interested in watching. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Gucci, Louis, Fendi, Prada. Basic bitches wear that shit, so I don't